Hi, I'm Heather. I'm one of the character artists here at Disney's Hollywood Studios and the Magic of Disney Animation. This is the Animation Academy where we teach guests how to draw everybody from Mickey Mouse all the way up to Olaf from Disney's Frozen. Today we're going to teach you how to draw a character from Disney's Princess and the Frog, Ray the Firefly. He's one of my favorites because his heart is big as the bayou. He's actually from the South. He's from New Orleans. I'm from Alabama, so we have that really great connection. So let's go. We're going to keep in the center, right about this area. And we're going to start with the shape of his head. His shape of his head is kind of more of a fly swatter type shape. And I'm just going to start with a straight line at first, about 2 inches. And then we're going to bring this down and then number 7. Kind of get that little angle in there. Then we're going to go right beside it and draw on the left side and draw straight down. And then I'm going to bring these together. So you kind of create that nice little fly swatter type shape. So what we want to do is kind of move back into space and get the basic shapes in there first before we go into the details. I want to go just up above the chin and draw in an oval, but I want to overlap that on top of that fly swatter shape. So we're just going to go ahead and sketch out a grape or olive right beside it. And then right beside that, I'm actually going to take the bottom of the olive and bring it out to the right. And this will create his body. I'm going to come up to about where the top of the olive is and come out to the right, just a little bit. And bring these two lines together with a parenthesis. So we had that overlapping on top of his head. So the next part is going to overlap on top of his body, and it's going to be a circle. And once again, when you draw your circles, you want to draw it with your full arm and your full shoulder. So act like you're stirring something. We're going to make this about the size of a baseball. Okay, so we're going to draw his behind now. I'm going to go ahead and sketch that out and just keep it very rough. Don't worry about it being a perfect circle. It is okay. You can make it pretty big. Okay, get that in there very, very light. Now we're going to move to some of the darker lines. I'm actually going to trace over part of the top of that circle. So I'm going to come on top. And then once we trace over our lines, you want to keep them nice and smooth, going back and forth over that line. And it increasingly becomes darker. And you got nice long strokes there. And then I'm going to do a little S curve from the right side into his body. So I'm going to do a little S curve there. Okay. And then we're going to trace over part of his body right over here from the right side to the left side. Pull this together, just kind of keep it nice and loose. And once you do the round shapes, it's kind of hard to get that curve. So I suggest maybe you can take your paper off and kind of turn it a little bit if it helps you get that nice round shape. And in this white area just below the little flap, we're going to do a couple of curved lines going from left to right. So I'm just going to do a curved line going up to the flap. You're going to leave a little space and go about to the left and then curve it up to the right, up to the little flap. And again, just use your shoulder to get that light line in first, and then it increasingly gets darker the more you go over it. And then come right behind that and you're going to draw another curved line from top to bottom. Okay, and that will be the completion of this part. Now we're going to go into his wings. We're basically going to think of a triangle. And as you can put 2 triangles because he's got 2 wings in there. The left wing might be a little bit shorter than the right one. The right one's a little bit bigger because it's closer to us. So I'm going to start at his body just to the left of his behind. So we're going to curve up. And then we're going to go down just a little bit. It's like a backwards 7. And we're going to complete our triangle. Okay, we're going to go a little bit to the right of that left one. And we're going to start at the body. We're going to curve up. Go a little bit further up, so make it a little bit bigger so it's closer to us. Go down, keep that same angle as the left wing, and then come right back together where you left off. I like to think his wings kind of look like Swiss cheese. It's got the holes in it. So you can go in there and round off the corners of his wings. You're going to make sure you do a little cutout in his wings. So we're going to kind of do a little C shape. And then we're going to trace over all the way back down to the point. Okay. This is Disney's return to hand-drawn animation. It's directed by John Musker and Ron Clements. I'm going to trace over the rest of it. And Ray is also voiced by Jim Cummings. It's amazing voice talent. Love listening to all his voiceovers. And then we're going to draw in a couple of the holes. And it doesn't matter where you put the holes in the wings. You can play around with it, be creative. I like to do maybe 2 on one wing and then maybe 1 on the other to kind of mix it up and make it look different, make it more interesting. So we're just going to draw in a circle. We're going to draw maybe 2 on the opposite one. Just play around with it and see what you like the best. It really doesn't matter. So what I'm going to do now, we're going to actually darken in the top part of his body. I'm going to trace over just the top part. I'm going to come underneath that line, just a tiny bit underneath, and basically do that same curve coming up to the left. And then we're going to trace over the rest of his body at the bottom. And we're going to go ahead and place in a little pattern here. So we got a circle near the back, near his behind. We're going to have 2 little stripes, another little bitty circle, and 2 little stripes. So let's start with this first circle. We're going to come right beside it and then draw in 2 little stripes. Give it a little space and draw in another circle. And then draw 2 more little stripes right behind it. And then we're going to work with his legs. Now, one leg is hooked on the other side, so we'll just see what's underneath his body. So we'll start with a little circle there. Go straight down. A little bit past his behind. And I like to think the right leg kind of looks like a hockey stick. So I'm going to start at the top again, curl around, and draw a duplicate line all the way down. And then we're going to curve out to the left. Okay, do the same thing with the right part too. Just kind of curve it out to the left a little bit. Go hockey stick. We're also going to draw a line that completes his feet. And we're going to draw in 2 ovals. Go ahead and draw those 2 ovals in there right beside each other. I think they kind of look like Mushu's claws. He's from Mulan. And then we're going to come right beside that leg and draw in another straight line going down. Now this time I want his feet to kind of be flat, facing toward us. So I like to think this leg, his feet looks like a boat paddle. So I'm going to curve out to the right a little bit on that side. And I'm just right beside it, I'm going to draw in a duplicate line there. And just kind of curve it out to the left this time. And then bring those 2 lines together and then draw in 2 little ovals. Now this one can be different than the right feet. Again, make it more interesting. You want to make it look a little bit different. So just draw an oval on the left and then maybe it's separated and looks like a V. So So your oval is pointing out to the right on the right toe. And of course, Ray is from the South, and one thing that's really big in the South is football. Football is a very, very big thing, and I'm thinking Ray's probably a Saints fan. So we're going to give him some football socks here. So let's go ahead and do 2 little stripes inside his little leg, and just put somewhere on there, just make a little football socks. And then we're going to go ahead and do a couple other 2 little horizontal lines. And that will be his legs, his complete. We just want to work with his hands next. So I'm actually going to bring his hands down a little bit lower than his chin so you can see it best. And then we're going to draw in an oval. It kind of looks like a football. Again, we'll keep with the football theme. And then we'll just keep the hands very simple. We're actually going to start with that second circle. Go straight down. You're going to curve right back over to the football so it looks like he's holding it, ready to make a touchdown. And then we're going to do another little curved line, going down. It's parallel to the first one you just drew, so we're going to come right back up. And this will be one arm. And then we're going to come right beside that arm. We're going to draw a line going down. Draw a line right beside it. And then we're going to come down just a little bit lower and come right back up to the football, kind of keeping that same curve. Come down just a little bit lower with that second line. Just want to keep carrying it through. And then come right back up to the football there. And you can trace over that football shape for his hands. And to keep his little hands as easy as possible, I'm just going to do a little wavy line from top to bottom of that shape. Just go ahead and just do something like that. Now we'll just keep it as simple as possible. Okay. And then the fun part is coming, and this is where it really brings them to life. I always do the eyes last. So what I would like to do is take the top of his head and draw straight down to the bottom of his head. Just a nice little vertical guideline. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and put in the horizontal line and go from left to right, right across that vertical guideline. Okay, and these vertical and horizontal lines are there to help you place the eyes, nose, and mouth on the character. The vertical line is usually the middle of your face, so you're going to make sure you have one eye on either side of that vertical guideline. So we're going to draw in 2 circles. We're going to keep it inside his head shape. I like to think his eyes kind of look like Cookie Monster's eyes a little bit. Go ahead and draw in that circle. Leave a little bit of a space. And go to the vertical guideline, kind of touch each other. Bring it to the right. Let's go ahead and sketch that out. And then we're going to draw in a little pupil, and we're going to draw a circle just somewhere in the eye. And you can do whatever you want to with the eyes. You can have them looking up in the air. You can have them googly eyes. Yeah, just to make it fun, because he is a fun character, and he has a very big family. One of my favorites is his grandma, and Mama Odie always ask about his grandma. How is grandma doing? Oh, she's doing good, you know. So, and it always, again, helps to kind of get into the character a little bit. So we'll go ahead and darken in our eyes, kind of bring them to life a little bit. Darken in their pupils. And then right at the bottom of the eye, you're going to do a curved line from left to right. And then I'm going to come right underneath that pupil on the right side and do a little curved line. And then we're going to give him some big cheeks. When you're a happy character, you definitely want to have these really squishy cheeks. So we're going to go right in the middle of the eye. And we're going to curve up and around. Go a little bit outside that little square shape that we did. And we're going to start at the right side of his eye and kind of curve out to the right. It looks like little glasses, animated glasses there. And then I want to do his upper lip next, and I want to keep about the same straight line as the horizontal line, just come underneath the eye a little bit so his upper lip don't touch his eyes. And we're actually going to give it a little bit of a curve, a little curl in his lip, kind of like Elvis. Bring it in there. And then bring it up to the right side. Make sure your dimple is inside his cheekbone. You don't want his dimple to be outside his cheek. So you're going to curve it up to the left. And then your little dimple is going to cross over the top of that line. Again, make sure your dimple stays underneath your top of your cheekbone too. I'm going to bring the top of the cheek in to that dimple. And then we're going to take the right dimple and curve down, or go straight down to almost the bottom of his head. So this is going to open up his mouth really wide so he can talk. He does have a love interest in the movie that he's very fond of. He's probably going to tell everybody all about her, and her name is Evangeline. She's a great big star in the sky. Bring this back around, go over to the left side, bring it back around, trace over the bottom of his chin and curve it right back up into his body. And then you've got the cheekbone hanging up there by itself. You want to make sure you kind of bring that around so it connects to his body. You don't want to leave that as a hole in his head. So you're just going to make sure you just bring that cheek all the way down to his body there. Okay. And then you can go ahead and trace over the side of his head. So make sure it stays inside between the upper lip and the bottom lip, inside that line just a little bit. And it's okay to move a line around once you've drawn it in. If you don't like where that line is, go ahead and change it up, because I have a lot of sketchy lines up underneath and they're going to get erased later on. So don't be afraid to change up lines. So we're going to go at the top of his upper lip. We're going to do a little square or a rectangle here. Bring it out a little bit further. This is going to be his gums. And then we're going to come at the bottom of the mouth. Go up just a tiny bit. Come over to the right and curve right back down. Kind of give him those nice big gums that he's got. And then from the right side of his mouth, you're going to curve into that vertical guideline. You're going to take over right where you left off and do another hump right beside it, and this will be his tongue. Another letter M for Mickey. One thing that's signature on Ray is that he's got a few teeth, and you can play around with the teeth however you want to. You can make sure that some are a little crooked than others. And I think of them as like candy corn. So if you create something like that where it starts inside his gum, maybe a little bit outside the gum, kind of overlapping each other. And don't worry if you still have that line inside his teeth. You can get your eraser and clean that up a little bit. So don't worry about that. Just go ahead and draw in, a few teeth wherever you think, you might want to add a few. Maybe 3 are together. So again, mix it up so you're not exactly the same. And then he's got a little bit of a goatee, or he's trying to create a little goatee there at the bottom of his chin. So he's got 3 little hairs just going from the chin down. And then the last thing what we want to do is go ahead and create some antennas. And I'm just going to go to find the middle of my eye. Just go down to the right side. You want to curve up just a little bit, maybe a couple inches up. And then you're going to come over like a number 7. I'm actually going to go ahead and bring this down a little bit to the left. Almost reminds me of the game Hangman, kind of. And just at the end of that little antenna, just put a little thickness in there. Just draw a little oval. And shade that in if you want. So we'll go to the middle of the left eye, go straight up. Come over just a little bit. And then go down. And at the end of the antenna, just make it a little bit thicker. And in the middle, in between the eyes, you can start it right there. Go ahead and create some nice little hairstyle for him. And you can think of your hair this morning when you woke up. It's got that nice, funny hairstyle. So go in there and just get some energy going and just let it go, basically. Create some lines. And you can actually go on top of some of those light lines and make some darker lines to create some depth. So it really looks like his hair is kind of sticking out. And you just shade in his eyes to really bring him to life. And maybe the back of his mouth, just make sure you go around his teeth and around his tongue. If you want to create his little love interest, you can draw a little star. There's many different ways to draw a little star there, but you can go ahead and draw Evangeline on your paper because that's who he really loves. So we'll actually go ahead and sign our artwork. You definitely want to make sure that you do this. Put your name on your drawing and date it too as well. So that when you go back and you look at your first drawings and you keep improving, you'll see how far you come because improving is a really great thing. And so there you go. It's a quick lesson on how to draw Ray the Firefly from Princess and the Frog. He's one of about 50 Disney characters that we draw here at the Animation Academy. So next time you're here in Florida, come by and see us, y'all.